Good to be here.
Yes.
So Ron, you told me you brought a topic where I have like not much or zero knowledge on. I'm very interested and curious what you brought today. So yeah, what are we going to talk about?
Yes. So let me ask you a question, Dennis. How much do you know about Chinese car manufacturers?
Chinese car manufacturers, I mean, I know it's a big market, but manufacturers? Oh, I do know one. I think there's like some kind of cooperation with Volvo, and there's some Chinese company. It's Lynk Co or something.
Yeah.
I actually saw some of the cars here in Germany.
Lynk Co cars, right?
Yeah, is that not Chinese related? And then Polestar, obviously Polestar, nice cars. I like the new Polestar. There's a new one coming, a Roadster actually.
Yes, and we even saw one on the way here, right?
Polestar 2 was out there. Yes, exactly. So that's what I can think of right now. And other than that, I have issues to actually name out some of the brands, at least out of mind right now. Yeah.
That's fair, totally fair. And I think you will represent a lot of the people who actually here in the European markets. And I guess that's a very good reflection of what the Chinese car manufacturers are trying to make a name here. And I think today the topic will be interesting. Let's see how you would react to some Chinese car brand that you have never heard of. To see if you have a new opinion on them after all.
Yeah, I'm curious. Let's see what you're jumping into.
So the first company that I brought some news articles about is, like you can see here on the screen, it's a NIO. And NIO actually in Chinese, the language, the company is called 未来. And 未来 actually has exactly the same sounds of the future, 未来. It's written in different characters. And so you have already one of the image this company want to bring. They want to show some futuristic image for the mobility. And also how the word's name is written, it's very similar to the words of 蔚蓝. 蔚蓝 means blue, like how would you describe a very clear sunny day sky? That's 蔚蓝. 蔚蓝, sorry, see, that's easy. Confusing those two words, and that's also why I think they use this name, because especially in the last decade, I would say there's quite heavy pollution in some of the cities, big cities, mega cities like Beijing and Shanghai, and you see this like smogs, weather, and the pollutions, and people really want this blue sky back.
Yeah.
And that's also why the company NIO is taking that image a little bit.
If I'm buying cars for them, I get a blue sky bag.
Yes, you're making your own efforts of having a bluer sky for the cities. Yeah, that's why they're calling themselves the NIO, the 未来. And so there are now, as many of the other OEMs in China, they want to enter the European markets for whatever reason there might be. It's a big market, important market, very important for their image, because as the Chinese car manufacturer, if you make it in Europe, that actually do something to their name, if it's not only about the sales volume and everything.
Yeah, the European or specifically even German brands are quite famous in China, right? People like to buy these cars, and now the Chinese manufacturers want to kind of get that branding, so they have to get big in European markets, I guess, to kind of sell in all markets, but obviously sell in Europe. And in these markets, they want to squeeze themselves in, but also maybe getting a better branding and better sales numbers in China itself. No?
Exactly. Exactly. I think that's in terms of the marketing and why this whole efforts they made here in Europe. That's even more important. They will like just boost the sales in China so much. Yeah, I don't really have figures for that, but it's just like out of the feelings, if you say like this brand, they made it so well in the European markets, and this is definitely helping for the marketing perspective in Chinese market back there.
Right.
Yeah. So, as I promised, the first company we're having,
right? Yeah.
yes. So China's new to make power products for European at its first overseas plants. So it's even having a plant here in Europe market.
Where it's going to be located?
If you read here, the plant is in Pest, Hungary, and it will develop and manufacture power products such as battery swapping stations to serve European users. So here comes to a very interesting norm already, the battery swapping stations. Have you ever heard?
Yeah, I've heard about these ideas, obviously, because the charging is one of the main problems you still have. You know, you can go to the gas station, pump in some gas, you know, what is it, like 5 minutes or something, maybe grab a Coke or something, and then you good to go. And I mean, also they're developed kind of a cult culture around EVs. I guess Tesla, there's like, you know, people are meeting on a Tesla's charging station. But I guess specifically for business people, young people, you want to just get going. And then I heard and read about these technologies and concept of battery swapping. So you go to a certain station, you drive your car, and there's some technology where it just swaps your battery underneath from your car. Or and I don't know if Neo, I don't know, you read an article already, is actually trying to do this or specifically have advantage in this technology.
Yeah, actually, that is the technology that are on the market, and I think Tesla had used that and stopped developing it for many reasons. And why New is actually one of the biggest companies who still like sticking to this strategy, and that's especially big in China. Well, I don't know why, but from my own experience, it could be because like China in big cities is very dense in terms of population, and it's common that people are living in a whole building that has more than 100 households, for example. And it's just like not that easy to have a charging pole outside your yard. That's not a common thing in China. And as you mentioned, like this need for quick charge and then just go like you were driving a few how's the car called? That's
Gas-powered car, what do you mean? Or but so you're saying it's not only an issue of speed, but availability. So if you have these kind of buildings or living situations, you cannot have enough charging stations in that sense.
exactly.
Then also the question remains, like, do they already have solutions for even having all these cars for this kind of living situations or like living like buildings? They do.
They're building. I know there's some companies that's dedicated to the topic and then building this charging station for the like the residential areas, for shopping malls, for grocery centers. But it's apparently not enough there yet.
Yeah, I mean, I like the battery swapping. I want to have the speed. So yeah, I like the. So what are they doing?
Yeah, so this news is what they are doing here in Europe. So you can see that they're entering the market in Germany, Netherlands, Sweden, Denmark, the second half of this year, which is happening now, I guess. Yeah, and also they're partnering with a very big Origin Shell on the battery swapping station globally. Yes, and also both in China and Europe, you can see that. Yes, and as stated in the shipping is ES8S to Norway will be it's no that's happening.
ES8 is one of their cars.
Yeah, that's their car.
Can you bring up a picture quickly?
Yeah, sure. Let me.
Yeah, let's go on one. I want to see that car.
If I remember that right, I think that's a sedan. That's their.
It's a sedan.
Yeah. Oh no, apparently that's not.
It's more of a SUV kind of, how you call those? Yeah, the blue sky. I can see that. They're branding it. And then you go for New Horizons. Interesting. Looks good to me.
Here.
Is there any references to the battery swapping on their page already? Like if you check this car, scroll down. Let's have a see. Let's have a look.
See that thing in the middle? That looks like a small elf or so.
Yeah.
That is like what they call. It's actually a voice assistant, like interactive thing with AI powered behind it.
Yeah, they make a very nice look of it. Can you scroll up a little? See there. Like it looks almost, you want to get more familiar with your car in terms of, it looks like these robots. So they have this clock similar thing, like in Porsche, for example, you have a clock, right, from a whole different background. So this, it looks like the face, and then the screen, which is vertical in this, like in the Ford Mach-E, for example. It makes it look like you're talking to a small robot or anything. I like it. Okay, go on, go on. The battery swapping. Do they have anything with the battery swapping? Show me, show me.
Exactly, come back to the battery swapping topic.
They don't, not specifically on that car.
I think if you go to the power part,
Yeah,
I mean, of course, it's not like they do not have charging poles.
yeah, they do.
They still have like different ones, fast ones, normal ones, standard ones.
Mhm.
And here in the middle, it's actually their swapping station. And also this car here, this van thing, is part of their new service. And they cannot, whenever you're on the road, if you just don't find anything, charging station or a swap station around,
Yeah.
you just give them a call and they bring energy to you.
Okay, I see.
So it's like,
That's a new service. So that's kind of battery, not battery swapping, but so the van is coming to my EV, let's say, and then it charge my EV from their van.
yes,
But is it also only in emergency cases or whenever I want as a service?
it's per call. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you have anything on the swapping? I'm interested if they're already going there. Yeah, they have. Okay. That's on the road, and then I want to see.
Yeah, I think I even have a video on that. Let me see. This should be the video on this.
Ooh, I like that.
We probably don't have the sound though.
Yeah, I think we're not needed.
Sorry. Power swap auto park.
Nice. Okay, so I see it's automatically driving in the side of it. That's something we already know. It places it perfectly. You go.
Activation.
Oh, it really needs to be precisely positioned, right?
Yeah, if you need to change the whole.
And that's an amazing. That's amazing, right? Boom. There you go. Oh, and it even with screws or what? Oh, it's interesting. It always already shows kind of how they're trying to store all the batteries for the people who are coming and want to swap the battery. That's kind of a thing. No, further. Yeah, here. I already kind of saw that enclosure or whatever you call that part lower where you already see kind of I didn't see with other EV models or car models that there's already kind of the space. I mean, it's a space for the battery, but it indicates kind of that there's something good going on. Yeah.
And that was part of the discussion of this whole battery swapping thing, because as everything else, it's only would work and fly when it's like economic of scale. And then there's discussions of if that could be a future solution for all EVs. And then actually that was one of the points why some people are holding back to this, because they think there's no way that Tesla and BMW or Volkswagen will go for the same solution and the standardized. Like just imagine how long does that took for the phone manufacturers to have a standard charger cables.
I think they're gonna have next year, 2024.
Yeah, but that's in discussions
Europe only.
forever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's why they say like, yes, they could make that solution like brand specific.
Yeah.
But probably to have this as industry standard, to have it as a charging station whenever, and you can just have a battery swap and for whichever EV you're driving, that could be a little bit far away.
Yeah.
But that is why NIO is branding this as a like special selling point for them.
Sure.
And we know a lot of like car as a services, feature as a services, and that is battery as a service.
In some way, yeah. Maybe, yeah.
You can subscribe to the batteries. There are different business models behind this as well.
Nice.
So that's what they're building with the battery swapping stations.
I like NIO. Yeah. Well,
Already first impression on that.
I could. I like what they're doing. I mean, as always, obviously, you have to mention when is it there, right? When can people buy it? When is it actually in the European market? How quickly they can really develop, like deliver what they're promising, which is a whole different topic. But as you know, with all these new companies, there's many on the horizon. And challenges.
At least here, we can see their plan. We can now say when will that really happen or not.
Yeah.
But their plan is they will have this already end of this year in Germany, Netherlands, Sweden, Denmark.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next article I bring is also new. So it's about their ecosystem strategy to rule the world of EVs. That very ambitious title. Yes. And yeah, but one, as I mentioned a little bit before, like their ecosystem building is also another very strong point I want to bring. Like it's not just a car manufacturer. They actually even says on their website they want them to be a lifestyle manufacturer, like a lifestyle company.
A life what?
Lifestyle.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like they want to, that's how they want to brand themselves. It's not just cars, it's choosing a way of living, of having
That's
blue
because
skies,
they-
having futuristic, and they are working with a lot of designers actually all over the world and design some brand merches, for example.
I see.
And they're selling, they have a very quite handy apps where you can of course check where the charging station, where the battery swap station, call for the services, but also you can directly buy your merchants there. And they build a new house, which is like, if you know Mrs. Me, like it's kind of like that. It's like store, you can talk, it's a coffee, and actually in China, Mrs. Me is also restaurants. So it's all about having the lifestyle and meeting the people who actually will share the same opinion with you, and choosing owning this car.
The ecosystem, I mean, we saw that in certain other areas and fields. Yeah, I get the point. I get the point. Okay.
Yes, let's get a little bit into the article and see what it tells us. So,
Electric vehicles, Tesla. Well, think again. Yeah. Okay. There's That's the way the article's already written here. Okay. Battery as a service. That's what they call it. I mean, you mentioned earlier feature as a service, which is a huge topic nowadays in terms of software. But this is like and it's also other than something we might want to talk about also soon is this is hardware. And I guess maybe people are in the beginning kind of understand and willing to pay. Like you actually have a physical thing which you still have to produce and change, but it's still kind of a platform-based model in that sense. You sell the cars, and then you have the battery as a service as another business model to get money in afterwards, right?
and also I think that is encouraging when it comes to buying, because if you think about batteries, that's actually very important part of EV.
Yeah.
And you always expect this technology to develop further, and the lifespan got longer, and then to own like a very expensive battery that will probably reduce their lifespan quite soon is not ideal.
It's the lifespan of the battery, but it is also very interesting that so I don't have to pay the company money for them to bring maybe a software update to extend my range. They just sell me a better battery, and then all of a sudden I have, I don't know, double the range, not maybe double.
If you don't even need to buy it, just subscribe it.
I just subscribe and I get the better version.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
the longevity of these cars might be a little bit extended. So yeah,
Yeah, that's
other than just software updates, I get battery updates. That's even better. And that's
how much you pay in the end is the question. It's like monthly paying, but that's how this business model and their logic works in the end.
how's the subscription model right now? Is it monthly based, or is it can you opt out all the time, or lease everything?
Here's like a subscription or leasing service that aims to reduce costs for customer. The customer who opt for this service can save up to 100,000 yuan by choosing not to own the battery. 100,000 yuan, as you need to divide by 7 to convert that to.
What is that? What is that in euros? Let me see. 1,100.
1,000 something.
That's
1,400.
That's 15 grand per year.
Here is like alternative. They can pay battery leasing fee for around this much. This would be less, around 200 euro per month for 6 consecutive years, and then own it.
By the way, I just calculated that. That's almost the same price. You either spend the 15 grand up front, or you go 200 per month in euros for 6 years, and then you end up kind of with 15 grand.
And owning a battery, I don't know if I still want to own the battery after 6 years, but you know.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah.
Yes, and this is a picture we saw on the website.
Yeah.
So right there, so battery swapping. That is a video we also had already.
good.
And
So I'm actually curious with what else you have other than the Neo. Where are the others?
Yes, yeah, there's this final testing of the second battery swap station in Norway, opening meeting that was the beginning of this month.
Nice. Do we have? Is it there? Battery. I'm going to check this. Battery
Yes.
swapping station
In
in
Norway.
Norway.
And Norway is the first European market that you entered.
Yeah, I understand. It actually looks like on the pictures. Here's some pictures online. I think, yeah, look, is that the real one?
I think they're under construction. Yeah.
That's under construction, but that's what I found here on my screen. It's exactly looking like this. So it's there, and it's in the European market. I like it. I'm curious how first reactions and
Work, right?
how it's gonna work. I would love to test this. The Neo Life.
The new life, yeah.
Or what was it? The New Life? Is that how I could a little bit put it?
Yeah.
It's easy. Just buy a new car, have your new life.
Yes, and
I like that.
it's all included. I think in terms of how to integrate different services and different softwares into that,
Yeah.
the Chinese car manufacturers are moving so advanced because they kind of borrow this idea from the internet and this whole service industry, and people are just like more willing to adapt to the changes.
Yeah.
Their willingness to buy is also higher. So this whole idea of integrate the loyalty, different services into their car, it kind of comes very naturally. And it's just NIO is building this house around it, but without this new house, this service is also there in your phone. And it comes very handy and it comes really like part of your life already. That's why they're building this whole thing as a lifestyle. To understand each market's unique pain points, think omni-channel retail. So it's like revolutionary kind of in all aspects of it. And make the consumer experience social, encourage participants through rewards, don't get bogged down to traditional thinkings, collaborate with other brands, live stream events, super common in China now as well.
Yeah.
With the whole telecommunications development as well. So yeah, that's new. Ready for the next car manufacturer?
Definitely ready, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one you mentioned, the Lynk Co.
Lynk Co, nice.
The Lynk Co, the joint venture from the Geely. Have you ever heard about this company?
Geely, no, that's why I asked how they pronounced. I didn't.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Then it will be quite surprising actually for you if you know Geely actually is owning Volvo.
They're owning Volvo.
Yeah, they own it. They bought
Since
it.
when? When did they buy Volvo?
Long times ago, I think, I don't know, more than 5 years at least.
Okay.
And Lynk Co is part of it. Polestar is part of it.
Polestar, that's funny. It's owned 50.5% by the Geely Holding Group.
Just enough to have the veto.
Exactly, and 49.5 by Volvo Cars. So that's Polestar. And then Lynk Co, which you also mentioned earlier, or I came up with, that's owned 50% by Geely. It's 30% Volvo. So Volvo is involved in Lynk Co. I kind of thought that. And then there's, oh yeah, there's difference. Like 50% is Geely Auto, 30 is Volvo, and then 20 is the holding group. So that's also kind of split up. So Lynk Co is definitely a little bit of a mix. And but Volvo is definitely involved. I mean, I'm not that surprised. I mean, okay, that's easy to say, but you can, even if it's very futuristic, very modern designs, if you look at the cars from Lynk Co, if you look on the cars of like Polestar, still you kind of
Even called Polestars, right? That sounds for sure somewhere from the Northern Europe.
It sounds like it, but you also find some of the design language back from Volvo. You see some.
It is like, it's not surprising, and it's not the point of buying this group is not making them Chinese or something. Like they're keeping the whole teams and they're just like putting, basically injecting money in this market to keep this language, keep their design, keep their style. Like they're keeping it. It's not buying it to overthrow it or anything. Yeah. That's for sure not what they're doing.
Oh, so it's longer ago. 2010.
More than 10 years.
Yeah, apparently. What is it, like something here?
I thought that was between 5 to 10 years, and apparently that's longer.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And what might also be surprising for you is like, you know, the chairman of the group is called Li Shufu, like Eric Li, that is how it goes with the English name. He actually personally owned, I think, more than 10% of Daimler Group.
Wow.
Big numbers today. Okay, but so you wanted to look into what was it? Lynk Co. Let's have a look into that a little bit.
So I don't know if that's for you surprising, but 28% of new cars sold in the Netherlands now plug-in cars, and Lynk Co is number one. It's number one, not that. That's just how this market is split for February 2022. And you can see the Lynk Co number 01 plug-in hybrid is for sure the most sold cars there in the market.
That's February 2022.
Yes, this year.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, so they're definitely right now on the horizon. Like they're definitely rocking it right now. Show me that graph again quickly. Okay, so that's January to February, and they're also number one.
And Volvo, I mean, the group is having
Yeah,
quite.
Sure. Obviously, they're still there. And there's Polestar down there again. No, Polestar's not in January, but they're getting ahead of in terms of the February numbers. Okay, cool. Okay, that's a little bit of the numbers how they're doing right now, at least. I mean, one couple of months doesn't show. I think you have another article open with the link in upper there. Lynk Co. Yeah, let's stay with this company for.
Cars are more than dinosaurs. So this is what, according to their CEOs.
I saw this guy. So this guy.
In person or?
No, in a commercial. They have an amazing commercial, and then they kind of like having, I don't know, what is it? Everything stops in time, so it's like slow motion, everything, and then all of a sudden everything stops. Like you see dancers.
Dinosaurs, right?
Yeah, or like that's what I mean. And then they're kind of coming up with this whole topic of that most of the time, like what is it, 90% of the time or something, cars are just standing around. They're stopping in time. They're not moving. And I think that's their concept, right? They kind of want to lower that number. So once a car is out there, produced, it's on the market, it's like on the street, it's physically there. You want to make it moving as much as possible rather than standing somewhere in a garage.
Yeah.
And I think I saw that guy from the commercial explaining, like it's a 14 minutes video, it's like 1 minute of commercial, and it's like, I don't know, 13 minutes of, I think it was this guy explaining the concept.
But that means you know their business model then.
A little bit, yeah. That's how I got aware of this company. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole idea of it. Like instead of having cars just parking and stopping and not being used, they want to really bring this whole shared economy into their communities.
Yeah.
And their like ecosystems by really having the business model into a subscription model. Like we saw NIO with the battery as a service. You can subscribe to a battery. And what Lynk Co are doing here in the European market is you can actually subscribe a car.
Yeah, that's a little like, I mean, we have models like this, right? You can have a leasing, right? I can lease my car for a year, for 3 years. That's having this specific car. It's more close to owning it, I guess. It's still my car for that time while I'm leasing it. You have all these apps nowadays. I mean, I know some of the bigger German cities have these options where you can quick lease in terms of like you kind of have.
Yeah, different.
So it's a little very interesting approach they're doing. I mean, you have their own cars, have their actually own cars. Like it's not like these companies I know where you have like certain shared services where you buy multiple, many cars from Volkswagen or something like an ID3, put your badge on and rent that out. But they actually come up with their own models. And it's an interesting, I mean, apparently it works quite well. People are interested in it. But it's somewhere between all these different movements of having new cars, selling them, having subscription model, and they kind of doing both at the same time.
Yeah, and I think it's also about a little bit about this whole lifestyle thing. And as you mentioned, like you actually, this is the only Chinese company you know, and it's from their commercials, their marketing videos.
Yeah.
And they're doing quite well in that sense, I would say. That's the image they want to have. That's what they're promoting themselves with, like these different lifestyles. And we have this car, and also they're building they're, I don't know if they're called Lynk Co houses or so, but they have these like physical stores or cafes you can meet with other people who are choosing the same lifestyle.
I saw that in the commercial. That looked very promising. I mean, that's what I mentioned earlier with the Tesla charging stations, where there's some kind of, I'm not sure if you want to call it a culture or a cult,
Yeah.
but it's a thing. You kind of meet up, like, oh, you have a Tesla. Oh, yeah, you have a Tesla, which is a way cheaper car than a Porsche, but it has a similar.
Oh, yeah,
It brings people that share.
People like, even if they have nothing to do with each other, like that they're meeting up at the charging station, having a nice talk. How's your Tesla doing? How's your Tesla doing? Okay, nice. Have a nice day. And it's a
symbol, right? I think it's still like car has always been kind of symbol before.
always.
Yeah, I can afford a BMW or Mercedes-Benz. I think it's probably less here in Europe, but it's for sure still the thing in Chinese market. That's at least what I can say. And here with this whole new EVs and lifestyle, super futuristic, technology-driven stuff, it's just simple in different stuffs, but it's same old story.
It comes back. It comes back. Like, okay, are you at Starbucks today? No, I'm at the Neo house.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they're trying to build. Interesting. Yeah.
Yes, and all these very bold statements. Yeah.
Cars are modern dinosaurs, full of anachronisms. But still, they're selling cars. No, like, I mean, they're building cars. See, this is nice. That looks like a Starbucks back in the day. That's Berlin. Very nice. I like that. I would like to hang out there, I guess.
And I think they also have it in Amsterdam, at least that's what I remember. So that's Antwerp.
Antwerp, yeah.
I think they're building now at least 2 models there, so it's available. And of course, you can imagine in the future they will expand their fleet and different portfolios.
Sure.
So you actually can have a cabriolet if you have a very nice sunny summer days, and have SUV if you want to go for a family trip.
Sure.
That reminds me of some of the leasing models like Sixt is doing, where you have.
Manufacturers are doing that as well.
Yeah, but like Sixt is like usually just a rental company where you're just renting out cars, and then they have these kind of models where you have. I think you can even have a full year, and then depending on which, like if it's summer, the time of the year it is, you get certain cars you can choose from and swap them and such. Yeah, so Lynk Co. What you brought more articles, I think, on LinkedIn. Lynk Co, right?
Let's go
One is also Lynk Co. Hill Racing. That is something that I don't know if you know about this, like WTCR.
The WTCR? No, I don't know.
It's actually a car race. It's called World Touring Car Cup, and it's basically from the same organization where the Formula One is running, basically. So that's but the thing is, like, you can only use the cars actually are sold, like produced, that would also run on the normal street in this race.
Yeah.
And actually, Lynk Co are performing quite well on that racing.
Yeah, they're getting their hands. They want to make their brand, famous with the young people.
Yeah, with this kind of race is money burning. So whichever company that is going for that is more about, I want to show that we can really performance in the extreme situations, and then in the end, that's marketing activity. At least for me, that's marketing activity. But of course, you have passion in it. That has meaning in itself.
Building the brand. It's building the brand. You have that. Thing is, I have issues. I mean, apparently they're doing well. Maybe because of the cars. But for me, it's really not super clear. Do I want to buy the car because I maybe do like specifically some of the features or style of the car? Or do I go with a subscription model? And then where's the difference? I mean, I can, if I'm living in Berlin or in Hamburg, I can go for certain subscription from BMW and have multiple different BMWs. In the week, in the day, I can subscribe them, or I can use to share.
Like, why should I buy?
It's a little hard for me to grasp on. Do you guys want me to buy your car? Do you want me to go on the subscription model? Or even if so, why would I specifically want to go on your subscription model rather than to go on any other?
That's a very, very good question, and very fair question that the companies need to ask themselves as well. If they want to enter the European market, where the customer having so wide options of
Many options.
all the.
I mean, I guess they asked the same question themselves already, and apparently they're doing well. We have to look into it at some point. Why? It's a brand building. It's what you're saying. It's new. It's something people not so familiar with. So it may be something you wanna. I like the stores. You know, it's a thing.
Yes, I think the price that we mentioned here. So Lynk Co offers customer in Europe the option to rent vehicles for €500 per month for that car. So would that be a very attractive price for you, or is too expensive somehow?
It's very smartly
Chosen because €500, it's a lot of money, I feel. And the question is like, where's my car? Like, like I'm not having a car for €500, but I could lease certain cars for €500 per month. So the question remains, where is the car in my garage? No, because someone else wants to use it too, right?
I think subscription is not like you.
Oh, I would own the car. It would be still my car. I'm subscribing the car completely.
Yeah. So that's just their approaches.
You have one last article.
And I guess that's also the good part, especially for me. Like, I would be so happy if they take care of those stuff, like maintenance, insurance, and taxes.
yeah.
Yeah.
That like a release too.
Lynk Co launches exclusive in-car meeting app with Microsoft Team access. I don't know if I would want to have Microsoft Teams in my car.
Yeah, but that's the idea of future mobility, right? People supposed to focus less on the driving when autonomous driving function is there, and focus more on whatever they want to spend their time on. And for a lot of people, meeting is very important part of their life.
Yeah, but here's the first thought I have. I recently, what was it? I don't know. I sat in the car and Apple CarPlay was there, and it was not the nicest, not the newest car. But because Apple CarPlay a lot works on the device, like on the phone, it had Microsoft Teams right there on the screen.
Right there.
And they're smart too. That's a whole different topic we might want to go into at some point. I'm just mentioning right here because we're talking specifically about Microsoft Teams. And that's also a little bit of a forecast where we can talk about in depth. You know, companies like Apple, and there's others, their software, boom, next one, another app. Just, I mean, there's a lot of like governance stuff they have to go over and some security questionnaires and all of that. But still, they're squeezing in their stuff a little faster in a lot of cars.
I totally agree, and that's a super interesting topic. We should definitely get into that topic some other times, because when it comes to all these apps in the car, and because now if you just like listen to music, I may not mind that much about the latencies, for example, if that's 2 or 3 seconds delayed. But if that's a meeting, I probably don't want my signal to be cut it all the time, or it's always delayed with the pictures or so when there's video involved. So it's another discussion around the whole connectivities, how fast is the speed of my internet? Do I have unlimited internet? Like for meetings, video streaming, gaming in the future, Tesla's doing already now the different gaming streamings.
Exactly.
Another topic, but sure, interesting one.
Yeah, so they're trying to squeeze themselves in there. Then it's from July this year, so that's quite I think, I mean, maybe Microsoft had done their job quite well to just squeeze themselves and talked with Apple, talked maybe with Google on Android, and also talked with Lynk Co to get their software in the cars from their side, maybe, you know.
Yes, we want to continue with the Polestar, and as we talked about in the morning, Polestar is also part of the Geely group, so it lies in the same roof, under the same roof with the Lynk Co and Volvo. So I bring in the first article here as what is Polestar, and here's what you need to know.
Nice.
Yes. So the first question is, who owns Polestar? As we mentioned, that was majorly slightly like over 50% owned by the
50.5 is Geely Group.
Yeah, and then other is like Volvo, and so it somehow lies under the whole roof of the Geely group.
Mm-hmm.
So that is Polestar. Sounds very like Swedish, but still owned by a Chinese company. But that's the image they still want to keep it as European, as authentic as they are. And the current Polestar cars This is a Polestar 1.
Can you make that bigger a little bit?
Yes, I can. That's a car picture.
That's a Polestar 1. Nice.
It's almost look like a sporty muscle car, no?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I liked it. I like the style of the car. It has some. I don't know if I say anything wrong for the fans of it, but I think it has some similarities with some Mustang or something.
Yeah, that's also what I was like.
From the side, I mean, we have that picture. Let's continue. There's another. I'm assuming there's another model, right?
Yes, they have a Polestar 2, surprisingly.
So I think there's a pattern with the naming. Today we earlier talked about with Neo, and then their cars have numbers like 1, 2, 3, 6, and so on until 8 or whatever we looked at. And then we talked about Lynk Co, and then their models have like CO1, CO2, right? Maybe there's kind of a pattern. Anyways, so this is.
Isn't it? You call them anyway, and here is more like a sporty, more like sedan model. And for the Polestar 2, it's like a SUV kind of setting. It's more for the.
That's what they all do apparently, right? They kind of start with the sedan. I mean, okay, nowadays everyone kind of a little bit compares to Tesla. That's a little bit. I mean, they started with a Roadster actually, but then more or less with the sedan. And okay, now and then Tesla Model 3 was more like a mid-size car, but the Polestar 2 looks SUV-ish. Yeah.
Definitely more for the weekend trip, for example. Yep.
Okay, nice. And then no future Polestar cars.
Guess how it's called?
3.
Yes.
But I know for a fact, because I'm recently looking into something I will bring up soon. They do go on their website. They have a new car upcoming. You have to wait a little bit. It's not coming before 2026.
Surprisingly, that's in Chinese. Somehow they find that I'm Chinese. That's Polestar 6.
So this is a cool car. Now we're talking, right? Now I'm getting interested.
It's launching 2026, still some years ahead. But if I have this car on the road on 2026, I can wait. I mean,
Yeah, and 2026. I mean, assuming the fun times of EVs are still upcoming, right? We have all the sedans, we have the mid-size cars, we have some halfway fun cars. Like there's like the Mach-E is a little bit of a sports, it's more sporty look, and the power is there. Like you have the sedans with all the
accelerations, that's actually the advantage of the electric cars.
But transfer that to something we checked earlier. Transfer that to roadsters. So that's why I'm saying the fun times of EVs are still ahead. I think.
Yes, and you wanted to check. This is their sedan model, the Polestar 2.
They looks a little different on that side. Oh yeah, you want to go camping with?
It's like written there as a simplest mini room.
Wow. Is that part of the company of Polestar?
I think so. It's their website, no?
Okay, yeah, no, but are they renting me out this apartment when I buy a car with them, or?
What is this for that you mean?
Yeah.
Interesting. They do. Let's stick with their car, but apparently they do. I'm also looking at the website right now. Micro spaces, very interesting. These companies are getting crazy.
Bikes, apparently.
They do.
As a company from northern countries, you want to go more.
So Chinese company though, but the DNA is clear. The design language is clear. Has definitely the European style and look. I mean, that's a very different approach for a cockpit, right? That's definitely a new design language, as we see with all of these companies today. Very, very modern, futuristic approach, and all goes in together with like these houses we saw from Neo, and what was it called? The Lynk Co.
Yeah.
Hangout places, right? Definitely more of a minimalistic design, and that's
The head
different.
units, yes. And here is also their interior in terms of how they spell. I actually like how they match the color together with the very yellow seat belt. And this is their central control unit for the big screen. It's also like vertical in the middle. That's
Similar from what we saw from Neo. Also continues Yeah, from Tesla, but Tesla moved. Tesla moved from vertical to horizontal.
Back to horizontal. I mean, I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that? Okay, yeah. If you check out, I mean, the first Model S's had like these vertical screens. Everyone knows in the middle, and then the Model 3s had already switched that to a 4:3 aspect ratio kind of screen, obviously. And I think the new one, if you buy like a Model S now, it's like 16:9. So that's the exact op. It's very horizontal. We see if you buy a new BMW 7, they have like a 21:9 cinematic display, and we have this kind of style in like cars like Mach-E, right, from Ford. So very different.
Yeah. It's like this is just getting bigger and bigger, and also I think with the future technology coming in, with more options for the entertainment and also less focus you need for driving, it will become the new battlefield, I feel.
Sure, for sure.
Back to the article, and this is like a picture of their navigation systems, the safety parts. Yeah, has this Volvo blood, of course. Safety will be one topic, and also it will be fun to drive. See from the next here, read the title.
Very nice. Polestar 2 beats BMW i4 at the Moose test.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Can you zoom that in real quick? So what it says, just yeah, the headline. So see the sub headline. It says the silent Swede impressed. So they still obviously it's
Image.
the image of the Swedish, and mainly it's a Chinese car company. It's a Chinese car technically. I mean, I don't know if you want to say that. I mean, I don't know where. I mean, I'm gonna think they have the production and development, design, everything might be very much so still with the Volvo, and therefore
Oh, they do.
therefore it's you can consider it a Swedish car.
You can.
Can you go? Is that a Polestar website you still have pull up?
Sure.
All the way there? Yeah. Let's have a look into the interior real quick. So go on one of the, maybe not the 6. Let's go into 1 or 2 in one of the current cars, maybe in the 2. Yeah. And yeah, see, it's definitely more futuristic. Definitely, it reminds.
So that they can cover.
Yeah, definitely more futuristic design language in terms of compared to the Lynk Co we looked at. It reminds me of Hyundai, the Ioniq. I don't know, series, I would say. The Ioniq series, Ioniq, what is it, 5, Ioniq 3, I feel they have. Reminds me of that. And then maybe we get some pictures of the screens some more. If you go further, maybe of some interior design. Yeah.
That is zooming to their interior like this control pad.
So that's good. That shows a little bit of the design language. Little Apple-esque, I would say. Not. Yeah. I mean, you have the squares. You have certain patterns there. You have the icons. Trying to compete, right? Back to what we had earlier. Polestar. That's cars. Like they're building the cars. They're selling you the cars. It's an EV. That's why I mentioned earlier. It could be seen as a classic competitor. NIO has this battery swapping thing, and Lynk Co has this, from my personal perspective, a little bit confusing business kind of model in terms of, do I buy the car? Do I get the subscription model? What might be the advantages? Obviously, you would have to look into this. I don't know what I would personally prefer. But Polestar is classic. You want to buy it. You own that car. You know, it's the decision of, do I get a Tesla? Do I get one of the more modern competitors from Beamer, Mercedes, etc., or get a Polestar, which is not a Volvo, but I think they managed well that people definitely connected as the Volvo EV.
Yeah, and I think you also need to think that from more like OEM's perspective, because it's Lynk Co, Polestar, and also the Tiger that I mentioned, they're all EV brands under the same umbrella. So actually, it makes sense that they also do a little bit difference in their strategies and business model they want to go on. So they cover like a bigger range of the customers with varied business models and offerings.
But what you're saying is, they're all Chinese companies, but they're not. I mean, two of them are in the Geely group, right?
If you think you're like the strategy or price and marketing department from the Geely, it definitely wants your product to be a little bit different from each other.
Exactly.
That's their lineup, basically.
So you brought one more, I feel.
That's a topic on the Geely group. And if I ask you, if you think about the flying cars, which company would you have in mind?
Flying cars? I mean, the only thing I can think of is, do you know the Mercedes Star with like the three, it's like on air, on water, on road or something. But a car company with flying cars, I don't know.
Yeah, they're investing on some cars. And let me ask you another question. If you think about the robots, like the robot dog,
Yeah.
what would you think about?
Oh, that's Boston Dynamics.
Yes, they're very good at it. And autonomous driving, which cars is there any company?
Funny enough, Tesla, but I think there's other competitors, specifically from Europe. They're definitely on their game. They're like maybe faster even.
Yeah. So Xpeng is a company that offers all of them,
Okay.
like electric cars, autonomous driving, robot dogs, and flying cars.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
I
what
like
they're
Xpeng.
positioning
That's
already.
That's also their name.
Right, Peng. That's definitely fun. Sounds very.
Their Chinese name is like Xiaopeng, and it's actually named after also their founders. Yeah, but of course, when they have the English name, they always think you need to have this like surprising to give people some impressions on the brand already. So the first one is Xpeng reviews the interior of the SUV G9, opens reservation ahead of the launch. So I think in terms of market entry, it is a little bit slower than the Neo, but it's for sure it's also planning. They have their already company established in Amsterdam for Europe. I think probably also office in Munich. I'm not so sure, but they're for sure expanding their footprint here in Europe. And if you look at the pictures on the screen now, here it's like their interiors definitely go for the big screens as we discussed.
If you zoom there,
Like here.
I think you can click on a picture, no? And
Should be, yeah.
that's nice.
That's that. Interiors.
Big screens, and specifically as on the passenger seat side, I have some screen estate for myself.
Play around.
Other than that, more of a classic build up inside.
Yes.
Still a steering wheel, which is not normal and not always the case nowadays.
If we talk about autonomous driving all the time, yes, maybe one day.
No, I mean like the yoke, right? So a lot of companies go for the yoke now. I mean, how many? Yeah, maybe actually only Tesla, but.
And because they're so like advanced in terms of how they're working on the driverless functions, the automated driving, it actually got the investment from the Alibaba group.
So yeah, Chinese e-commerce giant Alibaba teams up with Tesla rival Xpeng on tech for driverless cars. Nice.
Of course, that's how they positioning themselves. That will only just help this company to fly even further on this topic, and they're already quite advanced in this. And actually, I think I can show you a short video on how they actually are testing this. This is not one. This is one about autonomous driving them, and you probably will get interesting to see how this. First of all, how complicated the road situation in China is, and how they're already like running there. I think that's definitely for sure. First of all, the screenshot of it. So what it can manage now is like giving way to the oncoming non-motorized vehicles. And if you see the street there, it's actually not only a random vehicle, like a motorcycle thing on the vehicle road, but also it's approaching.
Yeah.
So even for a normal driver, that would be something super.
That would definitely interrupt you.
Yeah, but it kind of recognize that and manage to go around. And also this is super classic, like a urban traffic situation, like you have a lot of cars and the car can guide itself well.
Okay.
And the driver, you can see there, he's basically just sitting there, like still having hands on it, but the car is driving itself. It's just a safety driver.
Yeah, I mean, he's ready to go. Like he has his hands not on the wheel, but like really, really going. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is also, I guess, legal and regulatory requirements. Like that's autonomous driving parts I wanted to show you. And then I also mentioned that they're producing flying cars, and these are robot dogs, right?
Yeah.
Let's start with the flying cars. It's called a flying cars, but that's as simple as it goes. It's just like flying.
It's almost like a helicopter.
Yeah, and I think the good part is you do not need some lesson for that. So
But I need a no specific license.
no.
That's interesting. Oh wow, that's definitely a flying car. Can you put that full screen?
Yeah.
Go a little bit back to the moment it goes. Yeah, somewhere there. So you're just going on the side, getting your car ready. It gets its helicopter style, and you just fly away.
And it looks like, can you see?
I'm happy they're having a good time with their car. That seems to be a little bit too futuristic. Like, how are they in development? I mean, now you have your car somewhere completely up the hill in the Rockies, in the mountains. I mean, I like it, but that's a nice, very futuristic commercial.
Very futuristic
Yeah,
commercials.
So how far is that? And it's called HT Aero, right? Xpeng below HT Aero.
And this is like flying car now.
That's their current state, right?
Yes.
So very ambitious.
They are flying. If you see the video here, it's working somehow like that.
So that looks like a supersized drone.
And they just posted this on the Chinese social media. Like you can see that as the Chinese version of the Twitter. It's called Weibo, and they posted that there.
Yeah.
And it's brought some discussions on this topic as well. Of course, that's a little bit far away from what
I like the second part too, but it's I would definitely prefer the first version.
someday soon. Yes, and that's what they are at the moment. And I give you the third part of the robot pony. That's
Nice.
how they call it.
That's the same company, and they're doing a dog with the G9 wagon in the background.
Or they call that a robot pony.
It's a pony.
Yes, so last but not least, the BYD. And the first time some colleagues asked me, like, do you know there's a Chinese company called Build Your Dreams? I was like, no, I don't know the company. And then I realized that actually what the BYD stand for in their English name, because in Chinese we call it Biadi. That's just like sounds similar, but of course Build Your Dreams could be something nice to have. And it's a car giant, and actually they're very big in battery producing. That's what makes it very special. And they are actually now also supplier for Tesla.
Oh, interesting. So BYD is supplying Tesla with batteries?
Yeah. And of course, it's like producing its own cars. And also, I think what might be interesting to know is they got like Warren Buffett has like invested in this company decades ago, and that has also, I think, brought some more notice and a lot of exposure for this company. And so far, it has been growing quite fast, and also it's not just in passenger car sector. It's have a great share of the buses
Oh yeah.
market. So I think even in the US and some other countries outside China, you can see on the street that the electric buses are actually provided by the BYD. People do not really notice that, but they are quite strong player in that sector.
Okay.
So that will be the companies I brought today.
I like it. Definitely learned a lot about I mean, there were 5 new companies, which are, I didn't know that most of them, I mean, I knew 2 at least. I heard of them and saw some of those. And I think that's the main point, like in the terms of European market, that it's a hard step to actually get your physical product out there, make it people buy, make it people know, make it people see, entering that market. And I'm very interested in how it goes with the battery swapping stations. So far we learned it's going to be, or they do have 2 in Europe, I feel. One was in Norway. Interesting to see how that's going to go in the future, and how their business models, for example, like with Lynk Co, continue to grow or continue to function against the classic version of just selling a car, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And we should not forget that I'm just picking those 5, but there are so many cars companies in China that is targeting at the same market, same, like they are ambitious. They want to enter the market by 2025, sell that many cars, and this whole logistic problem is not helping anything. But the goal is set it, and it's not just these new companies like Xpeng and New. They're also like traditional players, which we didn't cover that much, but they're also like having really good EVs and want to introduce their product into the European markets. They're also like another strength there.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for me, it could be something that's similar to what happened in the US, for example, in the 1970s, like when the Japanese cars are just started to become a trend, a thing. Like people don't believe you can like spend this much money to get a decent car.
Yeah.
But decades after, it's proven that Japanese cars are running all over. And of course, you always will have a differentiate. People who loves to buy a Porsche will still go for a Porsche. Who need a Lamborghini, Ferrari will have their focus market. But there's also part of the market will choose this like newcomers will try.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to show you today.
Thanks for bringing it all in. Definitely very interesting insights. And there's, I think, a lot of topics we side catched we should definitely deep dive into next time.